Hello everyone, I welcome you all to today's session wherein we will be discussing a very important trick that we have from the topic of ratios. So sometimes we will be given with two or more individual ratios and the question would be asking you, for example, suppose you have information like A is to B, some value given to you, B is to C, some value given, C is to D, some value given, and then he will finally ask you a question pertaining to A and D. So that means I need to create relationship between A and D. So basically I'll have to merge or mix the given three or more ratios. Now how do we do that? How can we do that? Let's try to understand. That's what we are going to do today. But before I go any further, I would just like to remind you that we have several videos on the YouTube channel. You can just check them all out, right? And please consider subscribing to us because we keep uploading content relevant for CAT and other such examinations frequently, right? So we have two types of videos. If you have seen our channel already, basically two types in Quant. One is a concept video and the other one is the question videos. Do check them out, both the types of videos, because I am sure they will be helping you a lot in your overall preparation. Let's get started. So I would like to start off with a very small example. Suppose I want to merge two ratios which are like this. So then the question is, what will be the value of P is to Q is to R? Now here between the two ratios, I see there is a common element Q, and the common element Q here has a value of 2 parts or 2k. Here it has a value of 5 parts or 5k. I need to make them equal. That's the objective, because so that I can easily, conveniently mix them, right? So how do I make them equal? If you look at the numbers 2 and 5, the LCM happens to be 10. Let's try to make both the ratios 10. So this will be what? Multiplied throughout by 5, you'll get 5 is to 10. Multiplied throughout by 2, you'll get 10 is to 14. Now when you try to mix them, I see that Q here is 10 parts. Here also is 10 parts. Now it's easy to merge, and hence P is to Q is to R will be given as 5 is to 10 is to 14. So this is the way to merge two or more ratios given. This is the case for 2. Similarly, you can think about the case where you have 3 ratios to merge. There can be one more way of doing it. If I take the same problem again, Q is to R, 5 is to 7, then P is to Q is to R will be obtained as, I need 3 terms. Now here the first term will be nothing but product of all the first terms of each ratio. So it's going to be 1 into 5, it's going to be 5. I write it. Next, I need to fill the remaining 2 places pertaining to Q and R. Now how do we do that? I notice that from the first ratio, when P is 1, Q will be twice of that, 2. So here P is 5, so can I say Q will be twice of that? So that means Q will be 10. I write that. Next, from the second ratio, I notice that if Q is 5, R will be 7. Now in this mixed ratio, I notice that Q is 10, twice of this, 5 double is 10. So here R will be twice of this, which will be 14. And hence we can say the ratio PQR will be 5 is to 10 is to 14, the same value, but by an alternate approach, different approach. Here we didn't even look at what the middle term was, etc. We didn't look at all that. We just tried to find the value of P by multiplying all the first terms, and then we can fix up the values of the other variables here this way. So either this way or this way. So there are two approaches that we have, can be used for all our problems on merger of ratios. Let's try to use them in one of the questions examples that we have here. If you look at this question, P is to Q, Q is to R is to S is to T is to U, value is given to us. So if I just write it down, P is to Q is given, Q is to R is to S is to T, and finally T is to U. So finally I want T is to Q is to R is to S is to T is to U. This is what we want. So how can we do that? So here I am going for the method 1. In method 1, what do? We try to make the common term q equal. So here it is 5 parts, here it is 2 parts. Take the LCM and make it equal. How do I make it equal? I can multiply this throughout by 2. So it will be 4:10. Multiply throughout by 5, it will be 10:35. Now I can merge these two and write P/Q/R will be nothing but 4:10:35. But we are not done yet. Now again, P, Q and R/S, the common term is R. The value of R there is 35 parts, R here is 3 parts. Let's try to make them equal by taking their LCM. So multiply throughout by 35, 3 into 35 will give you 105. Here multiply throughout by 3, what does it make? So this will be 4 into 3, 12, 30, 105, and here multiply throughout by 35, it will give us 105 is to 175. Now I can again merge them because the common term 105 is equal, 105 parts, 105 parts. So if you merge these two, you will get PQRS, some value, you will get some ratio. Now after PQRS is obtained, merge it with S/T, you will get the combined ratio. Again after PQRST is obtained, you merge it with T/U, you will get the combined ratio. So this way you can get to your answer, but as you can see, this is quite a lengthy process. So can we have a shortcut for this? So probably yes. Observe, you can go for the second approach. What was second approach? P/Q/R/S/T/U. But you need to be little good with numbers and all here. What will be merge ratio here? How do I find out the first term? It is product of all the first terms in the ratio. So let's do that. 2 into 2, 4, 4 into 3, 12, 12 into 1, 12, 12 into 2, 24. Next, how do I find Q? I look at this ratio. If P is 2, Q will be 5. Please notice, here P is 24. Can I say 12 times? Instead of 2, it is 24, it's 12 times. So instead of 5, it won't be 5, it will be 12 times of 5, which is 60. So Q will be corresponding to 60. Now once I get Q as 60, come to second ratio. If Q is 2, R should be 7. Here Q is 60, 30 times of this. So R will be 30 times of 7, 210. I write that. Come to this. If R is 3, S will be 5. Now what is 3? 3 is becoming 210, 70 times. So 5 will become 70 times, it will become 350. Next, if S is 1, then T will be thrice of that. So thrice of this will be simply 1050. Thrice of this will be 1050. Next, if T is 2, U will be 3. Now here T is 1050. So 2 parts, if you put it as 1050, 1 part will be 525, 1050 by 2. You can see that. If 2 parts is 1050. So 1 part will be 525 and I need to find out 3 parts. So that will be 1575. So this will be slightly better than the above approach. I am not saying this is still the best approach, but this will be slightly better than the previous approach that we are trying to do there, merging them individually. But there can be a third approach also, which is, I believe you check it for yourself, better than these two. Let's try to go for that. You can take a screenshot of this if you want to. Next, observe how do we use a third approach. So I want P/Q/R/S/T/U. I write it down. I create a small table like this, wherein I'll be capturing all the required details. So what are the details required? I'm given with P/Q. So P/Q is 5. Then Q/R. Q/R is 7. R/S. S/T. T/U. And finally, I'll be writing down my answer here in the bottommost row. How do we write it? Observe, the trick here is, any empty cell will be filled by the corresponding adjacent filled cell. Whatever is in the filled cell, copy paste it in the empty cell. What do I mean by that? For example, in the first row, this cell is empty. How do I fill it? Look at the adjacent filled cell, copy paste it. So filled cell is 5, you just write 5 here. Repeat, for this empty cell, adjacent filled cell is 5, write 5. For this, adjacent is 5, adjacent is 5. Repeat it for the other rows also. Adjacent is 7, adjacent is 7, 7. For this, adjacent is 2, I write 2. For these two, adjacent is 3. For these two, adjacent is 5, I just write 5. For this, it is 3. For this, it is 1. For this is 2. And that's it. We are able to fill up all the cells besides the ones which were given to us. Now, after this, how do we get to our answer? Simple. Observe, P, if you look at it, you multiply this column and you'll get the corresponding value for P. What is that? 2 into 2 into 3 into 2 is 24. Then Q, 5 into 2, 10 into 3, 30 into 2, 60. R, 5 into 7, 35 into 3, 105 into 2, 210. S, 5 into 7, 35 into 5, 175 into 2, 350. 5 into 7, 35 into 5, 175 into 3, 525 into 2, 1050. It's 35, 175, 525, 1575. Finally, our required ratio will be this. Required ratio is going to be this. Now, this is a third approach. So, overall in today's video, if you look at it, we have covered 3 different approaches, and of course, as compared to this approach is going to be quite lengthy. This is slightly better, but again this also involves some calculations, mental calculations. But here in this third approach, we can get to our answer with all the numbers available right in front of us. So I would suggest you to learn the third approach that we have learned today, alright, and please practice it more and more. And for the sake of practice, I have one more example for you. You can take it as your homework, take a screenshot, try it out at home, right? Because the short video will not be able to cover all the questions, because I have to also allot time for the concept. I hope we understand that. Try it out on your own. So with that, we have come to the end of the session today. So in this session, we have covered a very important trick that we have with respect to ratios. I hope you have followed that. Keep practicing it, right? Because it's very much possible that you have learned it today, but if you don't practice it regularly, you might forget it when it appears in the exam, right? And or you may remember the basic approach of merging the ratio. This will take a lot of time. We need to remember this. All right. So if you are interested in pursuing a career in management, all right, getting a bank job, all right, or some other government job, I hope you all know that we offer courses for all these areas. So in case you are interested in physical classes, please do visit the nearest center near you, right? Or if you are preferring online mode of education, yeah, we also offer online classes. You can visit our website www.time4education.com for more details about the online batches. On that note, let me end the session here. Thank you and all the very best.